One cruise line feeds you caviar like there's no tomorrow. The other feeds you oysters until you burst. Both pour so much champagne you could practically use it as mouthwash. So, which one do you pick? The answer is in the details, and the details are where most luxury cruisers get it catastrophically wrong. Before we begin, a quick bit of corporate trivia. The man currently running Explora's North American operation used to run global sales and marketing at Seabourn, where both of you, I presume, met.
Yes. We were together.
Interesting career move. We will come back to that. Here is the central paradox. If you look at these two brands on a spreadsheet, they are mathematically identical. Both give you 69.3 gross tons per passenger. Both give you roughly 1.3 passengers per crew. You literally cannot get a closer mathematical tie if you try it. Now, I did have to dig into the absolute nitty-gritty to find a crack in the math. Explora has 7 pool and jacuzzi areas. Seabourn has 3, which means you are looking at 131 passengers per body of water versus 183. And that is exactly why the differences that actually exist, the ones you cannot put in a spreadsheet, well, besides the passenger to jacuzzi ratio, which I suppose is critical if you are deciding whether you prefer to be canned in fresh water or extra virgin olive oil, matter more than anything else. As an example of this, they both basically give you everything. But Explora is explicit in things you can ask for. There are menus for everything. Seabourn is very implicit. You can ask for anything off menu and off any list, and they will get it for you. I honestly do not know how to put that in a spreadsheet. Maybe my accountant would tell me to register under Goodwill. Seabourn was born in 1986. Carnival Corporation bought it in 1991. Explora Journeys was born in 2021. The Aponte family decided they want to build something entirely new. One brand is nearly 40 years old. The other is 4 years old. That backstory matters, because when we get to the fleet section later, you are going to understand why one company is building and the other one is optimizing. Corporate words. We will get to those too. Let's look at the hardware. Seabourn's ocean fleet, and please note, I am deliberately excluding their expedition ships. That is a completely different conversation. Seabourn has 3 ships: Quest, Anchor, and Ovation. Together they carry 1,650 guests across 116,000 gross tons with a total of 1,235 crew. That gives us 69.3 gross tons per passenger and 1.34 passengers per crew member. Explora has 3 ships, uninspiringly called Explora 1, 2, and 3. They carry 922 passengers on 63,900 gross tons, with a crew size of 700. That gives us 69.3 gross tons per passenger and 1.31 passengers per crew, jacuzzis not included. 69.3. Both of them. It's like they sat down together and agreed on the number. The service ratio is nearly identical. Seabourn at 1.34. Explora at 1.31. That 0.03 difference are the 5 missing crew members to assist the 2 baristas sprinting for their lives at the Seabourn Square coffee bar. Closing that small gap in the ratio would mean luxury did not have to take a coffee break at Seabourn. What about where you sleep? Let's look at the entry suites. Explora wins on pure square footage, 377 square feet versus Seabourn's 295 to 300. That is a 27% larger suite before you even start comparing features. Every Explora cabin has a walk-in wardrobe with a vanity. The sofas are designed to be residential. Some are pull-out beds, some are deep lounging spaces. This is not a cruise cabin dressed up in nice fabrics. This is a small apartment. But wait, Seabourn's bathrooms in those entry suites are legendary. Double vanities, a full tub, and a separate shower in the cheapest category on the ship. Explora's counterpunch is the heated bathroom floor. which on a cold North Atlantic morning is not a small thing. And here is one of those nitty-gritty details that tells you everything about the two philosophies. Explora puts an espresso coffee machine in every single suite. Seabourn has them, but not enough for every cabin. You can ask, I did ask, I was not one of the lucky ones. If you just look at the spreadsheet, these two lines are functionally identical, which means the decisions to spend $10,000 to $20,000 of your money comes down to something spreadsheets cannot measure. It comes down to philosophy. This is the single most important differentiator in this comparison. And it is not about which food is better. It is about who is in control of the evening. On Explora, you have 4 distinct thematic restaurants. Fil Rouge for French, Sakura for Pan-Asian, Marble & Co. for steak, and Mediat Club for Mediterranean. Plus the Emporium Marketplace, their cook-to-order buffet concept. And one very special restaurant I will come back to in a minute. On Seabourn, you have the main dining room and 4 vibe-driven restaurants. Yes, you select the vibe, not the type of food. But the big fork in the road is this. On Seabourn, the menu is a letter from the chef, printed, delivered to your suite the night before. The menus for all restaurants. You read them, you salivate, and you plan your evening around the food. The food is the event. On Explora, the venue is the event. You decide where you are eating. Fil Rouge, Sakura, Marble & Co. These have static menus, and then you discover what extra is on offer. Yes, daily specials exist, but they are not printed. They are not delivered to your suite. They are a surprise when you sit down. This is not a small difference dressed up in big marketing language. This is 2 fundamentally different ideas about what luxury dining should be. One is about being guided, the other is about being surprised. Though, to be fair, the biggest surprise on Explora is usually finding out you still have to make reservations for absolutely every restaurant. You can walk in. Look, I know I sound grumpy, but I am a man on a mission to give you the actual nitty-gritty. So let's get into the meat of it, literally. I am not fond of Explora's steakhouse, Marble & Co. Generally speaking, the cuts are underwhelming. Except for a surprisingly great beef tenderloin they insist on calling the French filet. I do not know what makes a filet French. Perhaps it has opinions about wine. Seabourn, meanwhile, looked at their steakhouse and simply surrendered. They deleted it entirely. They converted the space into Solis, a Mediterranean-style restaurant that tries just a bit too hard to impress you. Ironically, it is the only restaurant on Seabourn that requires a reservation. But if you just want a steak, Seabourn serves a perfectly good beef tenderloin in the main dining room, every single night. And now for the secret weapons. Seabourn's secret weapon is caviar. Anywhere, anytime, on the balcony, in the bath, during a mild existential crisis, complimentary, no questions asked. This is not available on Explora, not with this level of unfettered access. Caviar on demand is one of these things that sounds absurd until you have experienced it. And then you find yourself wondering why every cruise line does not do it. Explora's secret weapon is the fresh oysters at the Emporium Marketplace. And the sushi bar tucked away inside Sakura, their Asian restaurant. Now, yes, Seabourn also has a sushi bar hidden in the club bar. But frankly, it is not a fair fight. At Explora, you sit directly in front of a sushi chef who clearly views your empty plate as a personal insult. He will not stop. He will rapidly invent species of sushi I did not even know existed and hand them over to you until you are forced to be spectacularly impolite and flee the bar. If you sit there waiting for a polite break in the service, you will literally need a crane to lift you out of your chair. Finally, Explora does break its sacred vow of all-inclusivity for exactly one venue, Anthology, a paid 7-course gourmet restaurant. Is the food good? Yes, but the menu is essentially frozen in time. You are paying a premium for the ritual of fine dining on a ship where you are already surrounded by excellent food. And the premium is not small, 165. plus 70 for the wine pairing. My advice? Do it exactly once in your entire Explora sailing lifetime. Save it for a truly monumental occasion, a milestone birthday, a diamond anniversary, the day you managed to get your entire families through airport security without a single moment of tension. Otherwise, save your money. And one more thing, at the Emporium Marketplace on Explora, you cannot serve yourself. Staff plate every single item for you. This is sold as an elevated service. In practice, it means you wait in line for someone carefully arranges your salad while you point helplessly at the grilled vegetables. It is the only buffet in luxury cruising where you can develop a personal relationship with the person spooning your hummus. Let's talk about what you are actually looking at when you walk onto these ships. Walk onto a Seabourn ship and you are in a world designed by Adam Tahani, the man behind some of the world's most iconic restaurants and hotel interiors. It is luxury nautical, rich mahogany, polished chrome, sweeping circular staircases. Over 1,600 pieces of art curated by Artlink. Frank Stella, Luciano Vistosi, Zemer Pellet. It whispers old money. It feels like a private club that has been here for decades. Well, because it essentially has been. You walk onto an Explora ship and you are in what feels like a floating contemporary art gallery. The Aponte family personally curates the collection. Andy Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein, Hinke Schonibar, Yves Dana, museum-grade pieces. Super yacht architects design the spaces, not cruise ship architects. The lines are different, the proportions are different. And then there is the retail. Explora hosts the first ever Rolex boutique at sea. Cartier, Panerai. This is not a gift shop selling logoed polo shirts. This is serious retail for serious money. Let me translate what this actually means for you. Seabourn is designed to make you feel like you belong to an exclusive club that has been here forever. Explora is designed to make you feel like you are ahead of the curve, like you discovered something before everyone else did. Neither is right, neither is wrong, but they are not the same feeling. And when you are spending this kind of money, the feeling is the product. Next up, the thermal suite. At $1,000 a night, one of these brands thinks your muscles deserve to be eaten. The other thinks your sore muscles are an excellent upsell opportunity. Explora includes full thermal suite access for every guest. Sauna, steam room, heated lounges, hydrotherapy pool, it's all yours, included in the fare every day. Walk in, eat your mussels, stare at the ocean, repeat as needed. Seabourn charges extra for the thermal access, a spa pass. Is it going to break anyone's budget at this price point? No. If you can afford a Seabourn sailing, you can afford a thermal suite pass without blinking. But this is how you read a cruise line's philosophy. The small, petty charges reveal what they think you will tolerate. Seabourn has concluded you will tolerate being asked to pay extra to sit in a warm room. Explora has not. Now, in fairness, Seabourn's spa is excellent. The treatments are superb. The therapists are genuinely skilled. And if you are not a thermal suite person, if saunas and steam rooms are not your definition of relaxation, this entire point is irrelevant. But it is a data point, and data points accumulate. Let's talk about the energy on board, because this is where the two brands stop pretending to serve the same person. Seabourn's sport deck is lovely. You have a golf driving range, a putting green, shuffleboard. Ping pong. It is elegant, it is traditional. And it quietly assumes you have already retired, which is honestly fine by me because my signature wardrobe of 50 shades of beige linen acts perfect as urban camouflage on a 1986 shuffleboard court. Explora has pickleball courts, basketball, an outdoor gym with rowing machines, bikes, and individual weight benches. Not a token fitness corner, a proper outdoor training space. This is what luxury looks like when it's trying to attract people who have not retired yet, and their children. Neither approach is wrong, but they are not the same demographic. If you are 55 and bringing your 30-year-old daughter on a multi-generational trip, one of these ships is going to feel a lot more like a shared vacation, and a lot less like you are dragging her to your country club. On the kids' front, both lines allow children, but the posture could not be more different. Seabourn is neutral. Children are permitted, but there are no dedicated facilities, no kids' club, no program. The card room has games, that is the extent of it. Explora actively encourages families, dedicated kids' club, dedicated kids' jacuzzi. In the newer ships, Explora 3 and beyond, they are actually enlarging the children's facilities. Although, between you and me, I suspect the real motivation is to give the kids somewhere to be so they do not practice cannonball jumps into the conservatory pool. Which brings me to an important point. Explora has the Helios Pool and Bar, an adults-only sanctuary at the front of the ship. So even on a ship that welcomes multi-generational families, you can escape. Explora closes its pools, hot tubs and fitness center strictly by 8 p.m. 8 o'clock. The sun is still up in the Mediterranean summer, you are in the middle of a perfect evening, and the pool is closed. Seabourn is far more relaxed about evening pool access. You can enjoy a late swim without anyone tapping their watch. Honesty matters. On some dimensions, these two brands are just different flavors of the same dish. Standard entertainment sits here. Seabourn leans intimate and spontaneous, Explora leans into spectacle and production. Multiple shows, multiple quiz sessions, entertainment happening across multiple bars simultaneously. The quality is comparable. Neither is competing with a megaship on production values, and neither is trying to. But enrichment is different, and this is where we need to talk about something specific. Seabourn offers what they call moments, full included, elite global events that happen once or twice per sailing. And the crown jewel of this program is the private classical music concert in the ancient Roman ruins of Ephesus. Let me describe what this actually is. You disembark the ship in the early evening. You are driven to the library of Celsus, a 2,000-year-old Roman structure, one of the most beautiful surviving buildings from the ancient world. The facade is illuminated. You sit in the same amphitheater where Roman citizens sat 2 millennia ago, and you listen to classical music as the Mediterranean sky darkens above you. This is not a short excursion. This is not something you can book independently. This is a Seabourn moment, and it costs you nothing beyond your fare. Explora has nothing comparable. Nothing. Their shore excursions, which they call destination experiences, are boutique small group tours, truffle hunting, private museum visits, cultural immersion. They are good. They are also, in the experience of many guests I have spoken to, significantly overpriced for what they deliver. And none of them rise to the level of a private classical concert in a Roman ruin. Seabourn also runs Seabourn Conversations. High-profile guest speakers, historians, authors, diplomats who lecture on board and then mingle with guests socially. You might find the guest lecturer joining you for a short excursion, or the jazz pianist at the next table at lunch. The line between entertainer and fellow passenger blurs intentionally. And there is shopping with the chef, a complimentary guided market tour with the executive chef in boutique ports. You go to a local market, the chef selects ingredients, you return to the ship. That evening, those ingredients appear on your plate. It is intimate, it is memorable, and it costs nothing beyond your fare. Explora offers luminaries, guest experts in science, art, and wellness, and their ocean state of mind philosophy blends curiosity, culture, and restoration. It is a lovely concept. It is well executed. But the signature, once in a lifetime event that you tell your friends about for years afterwards, that belongs to Seabourn. The Ephesus concert alone is not a reason to choose Seabourn over Explora, but it is a reason to understand what are you giving up if you choose Explora. Because Explora's answers to what do you remember most from your cruise is currently the ship itself. Seabourn's answer is the ship and what it unlocks. While we are talking about features only one brand has, let's address the marina. Seabourn ships have a retractable marina on deck too. When the ship is at anchor in calm waters, the stern opens and the platform deploys at sea level. You can kayak, paddleboard, swim, sail directly from the back of the ship. Explora does not have this. It's a fantastic feature, one of those things that makes a small ship feel like a private yacht. If you live for water sports off the back of a vessel, this matters. If you do not, it's probably not a deal breaker. But it is a real structural difference that no amount of marketing can close. And then there is the Seabourn Square. Seabourn replaced the traditional reception desk with what they call a living room concept. Couches, baristas, personalized concierge desks. A library. It is where you go to sort out a booking, read a book, or just watch the ocean with a coffee. It feels less like a hotel lobby and more like a private members club. Except the coffee, that feels like a Starbucks. Explora has an amazing lobby. 3 decks high. A modern guest service reception and concierge setup. Efficient, professional. And then there is Crema Cafe. You want me to say more? This area alone has produced 4 of my Explora videos. That is how much of a difference it is. Did I forget any of those differences that do not fit into the spreadsheet? If so, put in the comments below with the cruise line you prefer. It helps other viewers decide, and it helps me understand what is important for you. I read every comment, every single one. And if you are enjoying this review so far, subscribe to the channel. We have not even gotten to the part that genuinely surprised me yet. Everything we talked about so far is what these brands offer today. I have shown you their current fleets, their current philosophies, their current strengths and weaknesses. Now, let's talk about what happens tomorrow. Explora 1 launched in 2023, Explora 2 in 2024. Explora 3, stretched, running on LNG with expanded suites and facilities, launched July 2026. Explora 4 sails in April 2027. The channel, by the way, has booked our group cruise on Explora 4 for the inaugural sailing. There is more. Explora 5 with the hydrogen fuel cell technology, December 2027. Explora 6, summer 2028. 6 ships, 3 on order. The Aponte family is not testing the waters. They are building an armada. When you have 300 years of maritime heritage and your family owns one of the largest shipping operations on the planet, you do not think in 3-year business plans. You think in generations. Now let's look at the Seabourn. The Odyssey has been sold. The Sojourn exit the fleet in May 2026. 3 ocean ships remain. Quest launched in 2011. Encore 2016. Ovation 2018. These are wonderful ships. They are. The Encore and Ovation are modern, elegant, superbly maintained. But their order book for new ocean ships? 0. Seabourn has 2 magnificent expedition ships, Pursuit and Venture. They go where ocean ships cannot. Antarctica, the Arctic, remote archipelagos. They are spectacular vessels, but they are expedition ships. They carry 264 guests each. They do not replace an aging ocean fleet of 450 to 600 guest vessels. Carnival Corporation's official language is right-sizing the fleet, which is a beautiful, neutral way of saying we are selling ships and we are not replacing them. Right-sizing, fleet optimization, these are corporate words that belong in the same linguistic garbage can as synergy and we have decided to go in different direction. They mean someone in a windowless conference room looked at the balance sheet and decided 3 ships is enough. Remember Chris Austin, the man running Explora in North America? The one who used to run global sales and marketing at Seabourn? I interviewed him about Explora. You can watch the full interview on the channel. I will link it. He talked to me about
the art of listening.
The art of listening. Explora's philosophy of building each successive ship around what the previous guests explicitly asked for. Not what focus groups predicted, not what a spreadsheet optimized, what the people on the ship actually said. Meanwhile, Seabourn's parent company is practicing what I would call the art of shrinking. Did Chris see the order book and make a highly strategic career decision? Did he get fired? Did he simply get an offer he could not refuse? I'm not going to answer that. I don't know. But I do know which direction he moved. Now, here is where I have to be fair. Seabourn's crew retention is legendary. Some staff have been with the line for 20, 25 years. That is why they remember your name, your drink, your partner's allergy to shellfish. On day one of a sailing. Sometimes on day one of a sailing 3 years after your last cruise. That kind of institutional memory cannot be bought. It can only be built over decades. Explorer's crew is talented, enthusiastic, international, well-trained. But they have not had 25 years to build that psychic service instinct. The ships are shiny, the people are still learning.
Awesome. Thank you, Vivek.
No, thank you. Because when I saw you first time, like I was like, oh my God, Alex, you're on board. Like, so I was so happy because it's been like third time we are together.
Third time we meet together.
Yeah. So I thought, let's see do something good. So you will be you will be come back for something
definitely.
good.
I will always come back. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell about another group cruise to come up soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
A cruise line with no new ships on order is not necessarily a bad cruise line. Seabourn right now might even be at the best it has ever been. Well, some Seabourn veterans I talk to do not agree. The service for me was genuinely extraordinary. But the question a luxury cruiser has to ask is this: do you want to book a cruise on a ship that might not have a successor? Because the ship you are sailing on today is the ship you are sailing on in 5 years and in 10 years. And unless something changes in that windowless conference room, that ship is also the last of its kind. Let's talk about how these brands actually deploy their ships, because where you go matters at least as much as what you are sailing on. Seabourn operates globally, all 7 continents. They dominate Alaska with 7 to 15 day inside passage routes and the glacier viewing that smaller ships can access in ways the megaships cannot. They run marquee world cruises, 145 days in 2027. They time deployment seasonally with precision. Japan for cherry blossoms, the Mediterranean for summer, the Caribbean for winter, traditional luxury deployment, frequent port calls, maximum destinations. Explora does something different. They call it slower travel, non-traditional arrival and departure times, extended port stays, frequent overnights. The philosophy is spend more time in fewer places, but go deeper. Instead of 7 ports in 7 days, you might get 4 ports in 7 days, but with the time to actually experience them. Their 2029 World Cruise is 128 days. This is a philosophical difference, not a logistical one. Seabourn assumes you want to tick off as many destinations as possible. Explora assumes you want to settle into fewer destinations and actually live in them for a day or two. The catch? Explorer's larger size, 63,900 gross tons, versus Seabourn's Quest's roughly 38,000, occasionally forces them to anchor offshore, where Seabourn's smaller vessels can dock directly. And Explorer's shore excursions, while boutique and culturally immersive, are priced at a significant premium. Passengers I have spoken to consistently describe them as good experience at prices that feel disconnected from reality. Seabourn's shopping with the chef is complimentary. Explorer's truffle hunting in Tuscany is not. You can guess which one guests talk about more fondly. I promised we would come back to the numbers, and if you have stayed with me this long, you are about to be rewarded with a piece of data that actively defies the laws of economics. In the Caribbean, Explora averages 719 per person per night. Seabourn is 554. Seabourn wins, about 30% cheaper. This is predictable. Explora has newer hardware. Newer hardware costs more to build. Therefore, it costs more to sail. Makes perfect sense. Northern Europe, same pattern. Seabourn is cheaper, 785 versus 944. Explora costs about 17% more. Still makes sense. The world is orderly, economics functions as expected. The older ships cost less. And then we get to the Mediterranean. Seabourn Mediterranean, 1,008 per person per night. Explora Mediterranean, 766. Let me say that again. In the Mediterranean, the absolute spiritual home of luxury cruising, the sea that birthed the entire concept of a grand tour, the waters where luxury cruising was invented, the brand new ship with the larger suites. They include the thermal spa, the custom stocked-in suite bar, the pickleball courts, and the 3 ships on order costs $242 less per person per night than the older ship with the smaller suites and 0 new builds on the horizon. On a standard 7-night sailing, there is $1,700 difference per person, $3,400 per couple.
Prices compiled on July 13th, 2026, over 109 7-night sailings of Explora Journeys and Seabourn in the Caribbean, Mediterranean, and Northern Europe regions between September 2026 and August 2027.
I checked these numbers 3 times because it does not compute. It defies every assumption about how luxury pricing should work. Why? I do not know for sure. I suspect it is demand elasticity. I suspect Seabourn's fiercely loyal fans will pay whatever it takes to sail on the Mediterranean on a Seabourn ship. And Seabourn's pricing algorithm knows it. The oyster tables, the caviar in the surf, the Ephesus concerts, these create emotional lock-in that transcends price sensitivity. I suspect Explora is aggressively buying market share right now. Pricing aggressively so that when Explora 4, 5, and 6 arrive, the loyalty base is already locked in. They are not doing you a favor. They are making an investment in you. The investment is called a $3,400 discount. These are theories. What I do know is that the Mediterranean just became the single best argument for choosing Explora, if that is where you are sailing. But here is where it gets interesting. In the Caribbean and Northern Europe, the pattern reverses. Explora charges more, $165 to $155 more per night. And the question becomes, is the product worth the premium? The suites are 27% larger. The thermal spa is included. The ship is brand new. The sports deck has pickleball instead of shuffleboard. The art on the walls is a Warhol, not a print. Is that worth $165 a night? That is a personal calculation. What I am telling you is that there is no consistent pricing hierarchy between these 2 brands. The winner depends entirely on where you are sailing, which means you cannot assume. You have to check. And Explora could charge more, everywhere. Their ships are newer, their suites are bigger, their spa is included, but they are not charging more, not in the Mediterranean. That is not charity, that is strategy. They are buying your loyalty now, so they do not have to buy it later. And if you are a cruiser who wants to lock in an incredible value on a brand that is demonstrably building for the next decade, the Mediterranean just became impossible to ignore. Both lines practice under the 100% solo supplement, which is already better than most of the industry. Seabourn charges either 25 or 50% on top of the double occupancy fare. Explora charges 25%, sometimes dropping to 0 on selected sailings. 0. So, we are back to the oysters and the caviar, the tie on the spreadsheet, the divergence in philosophy. Who should actually choose what? Choose Seabourn if you want. The most intimate possible ship, 450 to 600 guests, not 900. Caviar on demand, 24/7, anywhere you want it, an experience no other ultra-luxury line replicates at this scale. Dynamic menus delivered to your suite the night before, where the food leads the evening and you follow. Seabourn Moments, private, classical concerts in ancient ruins, events that become the stories you tell for years. Choose Explora Journeys if you want. Brand new hardware, ships launched in 2023, 2024, 2026, with 3 more arriving by 2028. Suites 20% larger than the competition, with walk-in wardrobes, heated bathroom floors, and espresso machines. A much more energetic, multi-generational vibe. Pickleball, basketball, outdoor gym with rowing machines. 6 distinct restaurants, all firing at consistent quality, where you pick the venue and then discover the food. Mediterranean pricing that literally makes the financial argument for you. $3,400 less per couple on a 7-night sailing. Explora distinguishes itself because it is a cruise line that is still trying to earn your loyalty. The pricing, the hardware, the order book. All of it says, we know we are new, and we are going to prove ourselves to you. Seabourn already has your loyalty. The caviar, the oyster tables, the psychic service, the Ephesus concerts, all of it says, We have been doing this for nearly 40 years, and we know exactly who we are. The question you have to ask yourself is not which cruise line is better. The question is, do you want a brand that is still proving itself, or the brand that has already proven itself and is now being asked to prove it still has a future? Before you book either one, understand this. Both of these cruise lines still require you to hunt for the luxury. If you saw my Seabourn review, you know I had insider knowledge, a blueprint from passionate subscribers of this channel who had sailed Seabourn for years and told me exactly how to maximize every moment on board. If you saw my Explorer review, you know about the 6 weeks of contradictory emails, the dining reservations that evaporated, the shore excursion confirmations that never arrived, and what that taught me about navigating the gap between Explorer's vision and Explorer's execution. The luxury is real on both ships, but the friction is also real on both ships. They just live in different places. Now at least you know exactly where to find each one. Anyway, the best cruise ship, the best cruise line is the one I'm on now. If you want to see exactly what friction looks like on board, you need to watch the full reviews. Seabourn is Yar. Explora Journeys is Yar. Choose your paradox, and I will see you over there.